You didn't stumble upon this by chance. There's something stirring within you, a quiet knowing that's been pulling you toward clarity, toward confirmation that what you've been holding space for is not only possible, it's already in motion. And I need you to hear this. You are not walking this path alone. Reality operates in patterns, in rhythms that once you begin to recognize them, you'll understand that nothing you've been through has been wasted. Every moment has been preparation. So if you've been noticing synchronicities lately, whether through moments that feel too aligned to be random or an inexplicable sense of calm, what you're about to receive might be the exact frequency you've been tuned into. Have you noticed how life seems to intensify right before a major shift occurs? It's as if the universe turns up the volume on everything at once. Financial pressures appear more acute than they've been in months. The people around you seem to push every boundary you've set, and the trajectory you thought was clear suddenly feels foggy and uncertain. That intense period, the one where you're holding more than you thought possible while watching pieces slip through your fingers, often arrives just before a completely new chapter opens. Most people interpret this as evidence they're moving in the wrong direction. But here's what most people don't understand. You're actually standing at the threshold of metamorphosis, closer than you've ever been. Consider this carefully. Transformation rarely happens during the comfortable seasons. More often than not, quantum leaps follow periods that activated every defense mechanism you possess. It's like approaching the summit of a mountain. The final ascent demands everything from you, yet it's also what carries you to the peak. In a way that defies logic, that closing phase of difficulty isn't an obstacle placed there to block your progress. It's frequently the energetic confirmation that evolution is already happening beneath the surface. People overlook this because they interpret the challenge as evidence of failure rather than the forging process before emergence. Imagine someone who's barely keeping their world together. Each sunrise brings a heavier weight than the one before. They're pouring hours into work, yet the stack of unpaid bills on their counter only grows taller. Phone calls arrive that compound the pressure, and all they're asking for is a moment to breathe. In situations like these, it's natural to feel like everything is collapsing, as though there's no intelligent design at work. But underneath what appears to be chaos is typically a reconstruction, old structures dismantling themselves to create space for something your previous reality couldn't accommodate. Think of it like weather moving through in the darkness. Water hammers the glass. Thunder rattles the foundation. And you question whether dawn will ever come. But if you remain present long enough, the first rays of light begin filtering through the edges. And just like that, the storm has passed. That's the nature of obstacles before transformation. The night convinces you it's eternal, yet it only exists for a fraction of time, and the light was already approaching long before you could perceive it. Research in human psychology has documented this phenomenon repeatedly. Resilience deepens when individuals are positioned near significant transitions. That window where everything feels overwhelming is typically when the most profound internal development occurs. It's not pleasant while you're living it, but the capacity built during challenging periods is precisely what prepares you to step into what's waiting. The trial and the transformation are two threads of the same fabric. Consider the account of a young woman crushed under financial obligations she couldn't meet. She remained in her small space surrounded by red-stamped envelopes, questioning how much longer she could sustain this. From where she stood, nothing made logical sense. She showed up every single day, gave everything she had, and still the numbers didn't add up. Then, without warning, a text arrived from someone she hadn't connected with in years. That person extended support she never saw coming, addressing precisely the gap she needed filled. What appeared to be total breakdown was actually the staging ground for a shift she couldn't have orchestrated on her own. Experiences like this show us that struggle often signals something deeper is reorganizing itself. On the visible level, things appear to be fragmenting, but internally, there's a recalibration taking place. Old programming is dissolving. Old structures are exiting the stage. And the emptiness they create is what permits something more aligned to finally enter. This is why the difficulties before blessings carry more intensity than previous challenges. It's a clearing process. And here's the layer most people never see. The universe isn't testing you as punishment. It's expanding you, conditioning you to hold what's already being prepared. A greater blessing requires a more solid foundation. And sometimes the only way to construct that foundation is by moving through challenges that feel impossible in the moment. The more intense the pressure feels, the nearer the breakthrough typically is. So if you've been experiencing one setback after another, it's not random cruelty from an indifferent cosmos. It's confirmation you're closer than you realize. Those difficult moments are the signals that something larger is organizing itself behind the veil. And after those storms move through, delicate indicators begin to emerge. Clues that the miracle isn't distant, though most people walk right past them, even when they're directly in their field of vision. What if the evidence of your miracle has already been appearing, but you haven't recognized what it meant? Many people anticipate a miracle to arrive with some dramatic fanfare, an unmistakable, powerful signal that reshapes everything in an instant. But in practice, the universe tends to communicate in more nuanced ways. Rather than explosive displays, the initial signs typically arrive as subtle moments. They might present as coincidences or simply a quiet sensation that something is preparing to shift. Some people describe it as a peace they cannot rationalize, others as peculiar little synchronizations, encountering the same message repeatedly, connecting with someone who catalyzes an insight, or observing opportunities that continue to circle back around. The challenge is most of us disregard these occurrences. We label them as random chance, or convince ourselves we're creating patterns where none exist. Really think about it. How many times have you felt an internal pull to move in a different direction, but dismissed it because it didn't appear reasonable? Or perhaps someone offered you perspective that aligned perfectly with something you'd been contemplating, but you wrote it off as meaningless conversation. It's simple to rationalize things away, yet those gentle pushes often contain information that you only recognize later when you reflect back. At that point, you understand they were directing you toward your miracle the entire time. Here's a clear illustration. Imagine a man who's been uncertain for a while about where to direct his energy. He's exhausted by his current work and feels trapped, unsure of his next move. Beneath the surface, his true calling has always been photography, but rather than honoring it, he convinces himself it's impractical. Over several weeks, friends reach out asking if he can document their events. A person in his building mentions a freelance photography opportunity. Even the content appearing on his screen fills with tutorials and stories about cameras. From the outside, these appear as insignificant, unrelated occurrences. He brushes them aside, telling himself they don't mean anything. Yet internally, something was attempting to guide him toward a clear path. He couldn't see it because he expected the guidance to manifest differently. Perhaps more obviously, perhaps more forcefully. It's not just his experience, Most of us miss an open doorway because it doesn't match the image we constructed in our minds. It's like experiencing hunger but refusing the actual nourishment in front of you simply because it doesn't resemble the meal you envisioned. You continue waiting for something else to materialize, not recognizing that provision has already shown up. And in many situations, this is where people miss the miracle. Not because it wasn't present, but because it arrived wrapped in a form they didn't anticipate. The concept of subtle moments carrying deeper significance isn't recent. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, explored extensively what he termed synchronicity. It's the way existence brings circumstances or sequences together that on the surface appear disconnected, but at a deeper level carry a sense of meaningful connection. You might understand it as existence's method of saying pay attention, that specific pathways, individuals, or possibilities hold more weight than they initially seem to. We've all experienced moments where things align in this manner, but it's easy to lose sight of how frequently they occur when we're consumed by pressure or uncertainty. There was a woman, as an example, contemplating a career transition. She oscillated in her thinking for months, uncertain if she could accept the risk. Then, within the span of 7 days, 3 separate people she barely knew mentioned the exact field she'd been considering entering. One spoke about how fulfilling it was. Another shared how they'd just begun that same journey. And the third extended an invitation for her to observe them. That's not merely coincidental dialogue. That's a pattern crystallizing to validate what her inner voice already knew. The reality is, the universe rarely raises its voice. Signs are almost always whispers initially. They invite you to lean closer, to observe, to trust the subtle repetition of messages you cannot seem to avoid. The method to discern if something is a pre-miracle indicator or simply another random occurrence is in how it interconnects. Authentic signs arrive with resonance. They synchronize with your internal dialogue, reappear when you're not actively looking, and capture your attention no matter how many times you attempt to dismiss them. Random happenings don't tend to reverberate like that. Miraculous indicators do. If you're recognizing these patterns in your own life right now, take a moment and share in the comments what signs have been appearing for you lately. What keeps showing up that you've been trying to dismiss? And once you begin recognizing those sequences, something more profound occurs. That sense of knowing, of internal navigation begins to intensify. You start to feel less like you're guessing blindly and more like you're following a thread that was already laid before you. This is where intuition begins to amplify, directing you gently yet powerfully, preparing you for the visible breakthrough that's already moving toward you. Have you ever experienced an unusual sense of peace even when nothing in your external reality had actually shifted? It's almost disorienting at first because you expect peace to arrive after circumstances resolve, not while they're still confronting you. Yet for many people, one of the most undeniable signs that something beneficial is approaching isn't found in the external world. It's in an internal shift they cannot rationalize. Miracles don't always announce themselves at the beginning. They often start quietly through that sudden stillness inside your chest that doesn't correspond with what's happening around you. We tend to categorize miracles as large-scale events, breakthrough opportunities, dramatic interventions, or life-altering conversations. And while those manifestations do occur, they typically begin in a far more understated way. Intuition strengthens before physical circumstances reflect the change. It's very similar to your internal navigation system recalibrating. You don't see the complete route yet, but you sense your movement is heading in a different direction. That gentle knowing inside, the one you cannot logically construct, is often the initial sign that the universe is arranging something in your favor. Most people expect breakthroughs to explode into view like fireworks, loud, bold, impossible to miss. But that expectation creates confusion for many because they're scanning outward when the signs have already begun inward. A peaceful heart that remains steady while the storm continues its fury is not insignificant. It's the initiation of something more substantial. Your spirit typically recognizes truth before your physical eyes do. When that shift takes place, it's conditioning you to navigate the external transformation without fear. If this is speaking to something in you, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. You're joining a space where we continue exploring these intersections of consciousness and reality. Consider the account of a student who was approaching graduation. He was drowning in options, saturated with expectations from family, and unclear about what to do with his life. The anxiety kept him awake most nights. Then one morning, he woke and everything felt altered. No choice had been made for him. No circumstances had changed. But he felt a calm knowing about the next step he needed to take. While the outer world remained the same, internally he was aligned. That peace became the compass directing him, and he understood later that the clarity arrived before the opportunities manifested. It's comparable to how navigation systems function in your vehicle. When you miss a turn, the system doesn't spiral into panic. It quietly recalculates in the background. You don't see the adjusted directions until they're prepared, but the shift is processing the entire time. In the same way, your spirit recalculates long before your physical eyes witness the evidence. That calm that seems to materialize from nowhere is like your navigation system updating the route, silently preparing the new pathway toward your miracle. Even scientific research acknowledges something about this mechanism. Neuroscience demonstrates that your brain accesses clarity when it transitions out of chronic stress response and into calm awareness. It's in that more peaceful mental state that decisions crystallize and direction becomes obvious. So when peace suddenly replaces panic, it isn't coincidental. Your body and mind have shifted into coherence with the path you've been preparing for. There was someone who wrestled with anxiety for months. They attempted everything. Conversations with trusted people, extended time in nature, pages and pages of journaling. But the unease never seemed to dissolve. Then, almost without announcement, they woke one morning with a sense of knowing. Their circumstances didn't transform overnight, and yet their heart was anchored. That moment of inexplicable peace marked the inflection point. Within weeks, external doorways began to appear, and the path reflected what they had sensed deep within. This is why that internal shift carries so much power. It reveals that the inside of you has synchronized with what's approaching on the outside of you. Consider it as the final stage of conditioning. The feeling isn't false comfort, it's coherence. When your heart steadies itself, it signals you're ready to receive the larger changes preparing to arrive. The peace comes first, because your spirit has to adjust before your hands can hold what you've been waiting for. So if you've been sensing clarity or experiencing unexplained calm recently, don't dismiss it. These are not random fluctuations in mood. They're signals of your compass reorienting, of your spirit pointing toward the miracle about to materialize. And the most liberating part is this. You might already be in that exact stage right now, closer to breakthrough than you can even perceive. Before we go further, I want you to do something. Take a moment right now and comment below with this exact phrase: I am ready to receive what's already mine. This isn't just engagement. This is you making an energetic declaration to the field, a conscious interruption in the pattern. You're signaling to the universe and to yourself that you're no longer waiting passively. You're claiming your space in what's unfolding. So go ahead, pause this video, and leave that comment. Let that declaration anchor itself in your reality. Now here's what happens when you start operating from this place of inner knowing. Your external reality begins to respond differently. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you've shifted the frequency you're broadcasting. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're stuck in fear, doubt, and resistance, you're tuned to a station that plays static and noise. But when you shift into that calm certainty, into that peace that defies circumstances, you're tuning into a completely different frequency. And on that frequency, different information becomes available. Different opportunities become visible. Different people cross your path. This is where quantum physics and consciousness intersect in a way that changes everything. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of potential until they're observed. The act of observation, of focused awareness, collapses the wave function and brings one specific reality into form. Your consciousness isn't passive, it's participatory. You're not just watching reality unfold, you're actively collapsing probabilities into actualities through where you place your attention and what frequency you're holding. Most people are collapsing probabilities unconsciously. They're focused on what's wrong, what's missing, what hasn't shown up yet, and so they keep collapsing more of that same reality into form. It's not a punishment, it's physics. Your brain is designed to seek evidence for what you already believe. If you believe life is hard and miracles don't happen to people like you, your brain will filter reality to show you proof of that belief. But the moment you shift that internal frequency, the moment you anchor into the knowing that your miracle is already in motion, your brain starts filtering for different evidence. It starts showing you the signs that were always there, but invisible to your previous frequency. Now, what we're exploring today is the foundation, the recognition that your miracle is already in motion. But if you're feeling called to understand the complete architecture of how consciousness operates, how to move from unconscious transmission to becoming a deliberate broadcast, I've laid out the entire system in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It explores the 9 master frequencies, the step-by-step practices for shifting from seeking to being, and the precise mechanics of how you move from manifestation to embodiment. It's linked in the pinned comment below. This is what's happening right now if you've been feeling that inexplicable peace. Your frequency is shifting. Your consciousness is tuning into a different station. And on that station, your miracle isn't something you're chasing. It's something that's already approaching you. You're not trying to make it happen. You're allowing it to find you. Let me share something that might shift your entire understanding of how miracles work. Most people think miracles are rare exceptions to the rules of reality. But what if miracles are actually the natural state of a consciousness that's operating in alignment? What if the struggle, the resistance, the feeling of pushing against life is actually what's unnatural? Consider this. Everything in nature flows. Rivers don't struggle to reach the ocean. Trees don't stress about growing. Birds don't doubt their ability to fly. There's an intelligence at work in all of nature that simply knows how to unfold. And you are nature. You are that same intelligence expressing itself in human form. The only difference is that somewhere along the way, you were taught to override that natural intelligence. You were taught to doubt your intuition. You were taught that life is supposed to be hard. You were taught that you have to earn love, earn abundance, earn peace. And those teachings created interference patterns in your natural flow. It's like trying to dam a river. The water is still there. The force is still present. But now it's meeting resistance. That resistance creates pressure. And that pressure is what most people experience as their normal state of being. But here's what's extraordinary about this moment you're in right now. That pressure you've been feeling, that intensity, that sense of everything building up, it's not just stress, it's potential energy. It's the force of your natural state pressing against the walls of limitation you've been holding. And when those walls finally give way, when that dam finally breaks, the force of what flows through is proportional to the pressure that built up. This is why your miracle feels so close right now. Because the pressure has reached a critical point. The old structures can't hold anymore. Something has to give. And what gives way isn't your spirit, it's the limitations. Think about a seed buried in soil. From the seed's perspective, if it could have one, it might feel like it's trapped, surrounded by darkness, compressed on all sides. But that pressure, that darkness, that compression, is exactly what triggers the germination process. The seed doesn't break through despite the pressure. It breaks through because of the pressure. The resistance is what activates its potential. And the moment it breaks through the surface, the moment it reaches the light, all that struggle makes sense. It wasn't random suffering. It was the exact process required for emergence. You are in your germination process right now. Everything you've been experiencing has been activating your potential, preparing you to break through into a completely different level of existence. And just like that seed, you don't need to know the entire process. You don't need to understand every mechanism. You just need to trust that there's an intelligence at work that knows exactly what it's doing. And if this content is touching something in you, if you're feeling that resonance, that sense of recognition, then I invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this frequency, to this space where we explore the intersection of consciousness and reality, where we remember that we're not powerless observers, but active participants in creation. Subscribing isn't just about staying updated on content. It's about anchoring yourself in this conversation, in this community of people who are choosing to see differently, to live differently, to collapse different probabilities into form. Now let's go deeper into what happens in the days and weeks before a miracle manifests. There's a specific pattern that plays out, and once you recognize it, you'll never miss it again. First, there's often what feels like a stripping away. Old connections fade, old routines stop working, old identities no longer fit. This can feel like loss, like something's going wrong. But what's actually happening is you're being cleared to match the frequency of what's coming. You can't carry old baggage into a new reality. The universe isn't cruel, it's precise. It removes what no longer serves before it delivers what does. This stripping away phase can be deeply uncomfortable because your ego interprets it as failure or rejection. A friendship that once felt essential suddenly feels forced. A job that once defined you suddenly feels empty. A habit that once soothed you suddenly feels hollow. And your immediate response might be to panic, to try to hold on tighter, to fix what's falling apart. But here's what you need to understand. What's falling apart isn't you. It's the costume you've been wearing. It's the role you've been playing. It's the version of you that was built to survive a reality you're now outgrowing. When a snake sheds its skin, that old skin has to be released completely. If the snake tried to hold on to it, tried to keep parts of it while growing into the new, it would die. The old skin served its purpose. It protected the snake during a specific phase of growth. But now it's become a limitation. It's too tight. It restricts movement. It has to be shed entirely for the new skin underneath to breathe, to expand, to function. You're in that shedding process, and it's uncomfortable not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something incredibly right. You're allowing yourself to outgrow what no longer fits. Second, there's a heightened sensitivity. You might find yourself more emotional than usual, more intuitive, more aware of subtle energies around you. This isn't weakness. This is your system upgrading. Your nervous system is becoming more refined, more attuned, more capable of processing higher frequencies of information. You're literally expanding your capacity to receive. This heightened sensitivity means you might cry more easily. You might feel overwhelmed in crowds. You might need more time alone. You might find yourself pulled toward nature, toward silence, toward stillness. And again, your conditioned mind might judge this as something being wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. You're recalibrating. Think of it like this. If you've been living your whole life in a dimly lit room and someone suddenly turns on all the lights, your eyes would need time to adjust. The brightness would feel overwhelming at first, even painful. But once your eyes adjust, you can see details and colors and dimensions you never knew existed. That's what's happening to your consciousness right now. The lights are coming on. And yes, it's intense. But what you'll be able to perceive on the other side of this adjustment is extraordinary. Third, there's often a feeling of being in liminal space, in the in-between. You're no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you're becoming. This can feel disorienting, like standing in fog. But liminal space is sacred. It's the void where transformation happens. It's the space between the exhale and the inhale, the pause where new breath enters. Don't rush through it. This is where the miracle is gestating. In many ancient traditions, liminal space was recognized as holy ground. It's the threshold between worlds, the doorway between the known and the unknown. And those who were in liminal space were treated with reverence because they were understood to be in the process of becoming. They were between identities, between realities, between versions of themselves. And in that betweenness, they had access to insight and wisdom that isn't available in the stability of either side. Our modern world has lost respect for liminal space. We're taught to always know who we are, always have a plan, always be certain. But certainty is often just another word for stagnation. It's in the uncertainty, in the not knowing, in the space where you can't define yourself by what you used to be, and you can't yet claim what you're becoming. That's where the deepest transformation occurs. So if you're in that foggy, unclear, in-between space right now, you're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. You're in the cocoon, and you don't need to understand what's happening. You just need to trust that something is. Fourth, there's a series of tests, not from some external force trying to block you, but from your own consciousness checking if you're really ready. Old patterns will resurface one more time. Old fears will knock on the door again. Old temptations to collapse back into who you were will present themselves. This is the final checkpoint. The universe is asking, are you ready to hold this new reality? Or will you collapse back into the familiar? Your response to these tests determines how quickly the miracle can land. These tests often appear in subtle ways. Maybe it's an ex reaching out just when you've finally moved on. Maybe it's a familiar drama that used to hook you, trying to pull you back in. Maybe it's an old coping mechanism whispering that it can make you feel better, just this once. And here's what's important to understand. These aren't cruel tricks. They're not the universe being mean or testing your willpower. They're more like quality control checks. Your consciousness is making sure that the new frequency you've been building is stable, that it's real, that it can hold under pressure. Think of it like a bridge being built. Before that bridge opens to traffic, engineers test it. They put weight on it. They simulate stress. They make sure it can hold what it's designed to carry. Not because they want it to fail, but because they need to know it won't. Your consciousness is doing the same thing. It's putting weight on your new frequency, your new understanding, your new way of being. And every time you stay present, every time you don't collapse back into the old pattern, you're proving to yourself and to the field that you're ready. You're demonstrating that this isn't just a temporary shift, it's a permanent upgrade. And fifth, there's a moment of surrender. Not giving up, but letting go of control. Not forcing, but allowing. Not grasping, but opening. This is the final key. Most people get so close to their miracle and then clutch at it out of fear. They try to control how it arrives, when it arrives, what form it takes, and that very clutching pushes it away. The miracle can only land when your hands are open, when your heart is soft, when you trust the intelligence that's been orchestrating this entire time. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood concepts in spiritual practice. People think surrender means giving up on what you want. But true surrender is actually the opposite. It's releasing your grip on how you think it should happen, so that it can happen in a way that's better than you could have imagined. It's moving from, I need this specific outcome in this specific way, to, I trust that what's meant for me will find me in the perfect form at the perfect time. That shift from controlling to trusting is what opens the door for miracles. Consider water for a moment. Water is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. It carves through mountains, it shapes coastlines, it sustains all life, and yet water never forces, it never pushes, it simply flows. It finds the path of least resistance. It adapts to whatever container it's in. It surrenders to gravity, to the landscape, to the natural flow, and in that surrender, it becomes unstoppable. This is the paradox of power. True power doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment with the natural flow. So where are you in this pattern right now? Are you in the stripping away phase? Are you in heightened sensitivity? Are you in liminal space? Are you facing the final tests? Or are you in that moment of surrender? Wherever you are, know this. You're exactly where you need to be. Every phase serves the whole. Every phase is preparing you. Take a moment and comment below. Which phase are you recognizing in yourself right now? Naming where you are creates clarity and helps anchor the recognition. Here's something else most people don't realize. Your miracle isn't just about you. It's about everyone your life touches. When you step into your breakthrough, when you embody your transformation, when you become living proof that change is possible, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. You become a walking frequency transmission. Your very presence begins to shift the field around you. People feel different in your space. Conversations go deeper. Synchronicities multiply. This is how consciousness works. It's contagious. It spreads through resonance. Think about the last time you were around someone who was genuinely at peace. Someone who wasn't performing peace or pretending to be okay, but who had actually found that inner stillness. Did you notice how your own nervous system began to settle in their presence? How your breathing deepened? How your thoughts slowed? That's not your imagination. That's your nervous system responding to the frequency they were broadcasting. Our nervous systems are constantly communicating with each other beneath the level of words. We're always picking up on the internal state of the people around us. And when you shift your internal state, when you anchor into that calm knowing, into that trust, into that peace that transcends circumstances, everyone around you feels it. You don't have to say a word. Your frequency speaks louder than language. This is why your transformation matters beyond your personal life. Every time one person breaks through a limitation, they weaken that limitation for everyone. Every time one person collapses a new probability into form, they make that probability more accessible for everyone. You're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing this for the collective. Your miracle is a gift to the whole field of consciousness. There's a concept in physics called morphic resonance. It's the idea that once something happens somewhere in the field, it becomes easier for that same thing to happen elsewhere in the field. It's why discoveries often happen simultaneously in different parts of the world. It's why movements spread so quickly once they reach a tipping point. It's why your grandmother's generation thought things that your generation considers obvious. The field itself evolves, and it evolves through individuals who are willing to go first, who are willing to break through their own limitations, and, in doing so, create pathways for others. You are one of those people. Whether you recognize it or not, whether you feel qualified or not, you're someone who's willing to question, to seek, to look beyond the surface, to consider that reality might be more malleable than you were taught. And that willingness, that openness, that curiosity makes you a pioneer. You're charting new territory in consciousness, and everyone who comes after you will have an easier time because you went first. So as you stand here at the threshold of your miracle, as you feel the signs gathering around you, as you notice that inexplicable peace settling in, remember this: you were built for this moment. Every challenge you faced has been conditioning you. Every test has been strengthening you. Every dark night has been teaching you to trust what you cannot see. You are ready for what's coming. Your spirit already knows it. Your body is catching up, and your external reality is about to reflect the truth you've been holding inside. Let me tell you what happens next, not to create expectation, but to help you recognize it when it arrives. Your miracle won't necessarily look like what you pictured. It might be quieter. It might be stranger. It might come through a door you didn't even know existed, but you'll know it's your miracle because of how it feels. There will be a sense of rightness, of recognition, of, oh, this is what I've been preparing for. It won't feel like something foreign entering your life. It will feel like something that was always yours finally making its way to you. And here's what's beautiful. The miracle itself is just the beginning. What you think of as the miracle, the external change, the breakthrough, the answered prayer, that's actually just the visible proof of an internal shift that already happened. The real miracle is who you became in the process of waiting for it. The real miracle is the faith you built when you had no evidence. The real miracle is the strength you discovered when you thought you had none left. The real miracle is the trust you cultivated when everything around you said there was nothing to trust. That internal transformation, that shift in consciousness, that's the miracle. Everything else is just a reflection. Before we close, I want you to do one more thing. In the comments below, drop one single word that captures the energy, the intention, the transformation you're choosing right now. Not what you hope for, not what you're afraid of, but the frequency you're claiming. Just one word. This is your energetic signature to the quantum field. This is you declaring your resonance. So go ahead and leave that word below. And here's something to consider. If this message landed for you, someone else in your life needs to hear it too. When you share this video, you're not just passing along content. You're creating an energetic ripple that reinforces your own understanding while potentially catalyzing someone else's breakthrough. That act of sharing expands the field of collective awareness and often accelerates your own manifestation process through the principle of circulation. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent, to stay aligned, to stay tuned to this frequency. Because the more of us who embody this truth, who live from this knowing, who collapse these new probabilities into form, the more the world around us reflects that truth. We're not separate individuals hoping for personal miracles. We're a collective consciousness remembering its creative power. And when we remember together, when we hold this frequency together, reality itself shifts to meet us. The fact that you're hearing this message right now, at this exact moment in your journey, is not random. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. Existence has been moving you toward this recognition. Every struggle positioned you here. Every sign pointed you here. Every moment of doubt brought you here. Because here, right now, you get to choose. You get to decide what frequency you're going to hold. You get to decide what reality you're going to collapse into form. Look at where you are today through new eyes. The struggles, the synchronicities, the unexplained peace, they're all threads of the same tapestry. They're all evidence of something working beneath the surface, behind the scenes, in the invisible realm where miracles take shape before they become visible. Trust that every piece is in motion. Even if you cannot see the whole picture yet, your miracle is nearer than it appears. The signals are confirmation you're already moving toward it. You're not chasing it anymore. It's finding you. And when it arrives, you'll recognize it not as something foreign, but as something you've been carrying inside all along, finally made visible. The next stage begins now. Now, understanding that your miracle is approaching is one thing, but maintaining the frequency that allows it to land is another. Most people experience these moments of clarity and then wonder why they can't hold on to them, why they slip back into old patterns and dense frequencies. There's a specific practice for keeping your quantum frequency elevated throughout the day, for staying in that receptive state even when external circumstances try to pull you back down. I walk through the exact mechanics of this in my video on how to stop losing your quantum frequency and maintain high vibration all day. You'll discover why frequency maintenance isn't about positive thinking, but about understanding the energetic architecture of your nervous system and how to work with it intentionally.